Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome back to another Worlds of Tanks replay with your host, GreatTaz. Now let's get this battle on the road in 3, 2, 1, roll out. Hello everyone, GreatTaz here once again with another World of Tanks replay, and today we're going to be watching myself once again play we're going to be watching myself again. Today I'm going to be playing the M18 Hellcat, a Tier 6 American turreted TD. Now, originally when we placed this tank into the game, it was seriously, they considered it overpowered because it had really good speed at 70 kilometers hours, which it still does have 70 forward kilometers hours, but it was able to get to 70 kilometers hour much faster, and it also had very good gun handling, and it had a turret that moved a lot quicker. Well, they came along and it got hit by the Nerf bat from hell, or the Nerf hammer. It was more of a hammer, and it crushed the tank completely. And in turn, they turned around and then released a few years ago, this being 2022, as a well-deserved reward, they released the Super Hellcat, which was supposed to be the Hellcat mostly before the nerf at tier 7. However, the Super Hellcat is not even what the Hellcat was when it was originally released. So the tank has gone over some major changes. Now, it still is a very fast tank. As I mentioned, it does have 70 kilometers an hour for the top speed, but it takes a while to get to said 70 kilometers. The tank also does start with a 75 millimeter gun, and you can get a 90 millimeter gun, which is currently located on the tank, and it has a real long reload. It has a reload that is sometimes annoying, pushing all the way up to what you would expect to see from maybe a tier 7 or tier 10 heavy of 7+ seconds. So it is that. The biggest drawback of the M18 Hellcat is literally the armor all the way around is 25 millimeters or less, and that's really giving it some love in some spots if it's 25 millimeters. Most of the hull, I believe, is around like 18 millimeters, so HE to this tank is very detrimental. But the tank was originally designed to be a fast-moving tank, okay, during World War II. Actually, it was the fastest tank produced, or tank destroyer, produced during the World War II time frame. It would hit over 90 kilometers an hour, fully loaded with crew and everything else. Now, as you can see, it was made without a turret or a hard top turret, so it was susceptible to arty. But with its speed, the way the Hellcat was mainly designed was to go blazing by the taggers, get behind them, and shoot them in the back, because that was the best and easiest way for American tanks during World War II to take out taggers. And yet pretty much a lot of the German tanks, even though the American generals and everybody claimed that the 75 millimeters was capable of taking German tanks, which none of them were, and then the 76 millimeters were even more capable of doing it, which still had a hard time actually penetrating the front of German tanks. So a doctrine came along that they needed something fast to be able to get to the side and the rear of the German heavies, like the Tiger. And that was what became of the M18 Hellcat. It was a fast tank, and it was designed primarily to rush by and hopefully survive because of the slow manual turret speed of the German heavy tanks, get by them and start shooting in their backside. And that is what's happened a lot with them. But a lot of Hellcats got destroyed because, again, with the low armor to make to allow for the quick speed, of the tank, you had to sacrifice somewhere. So what we're going to do here is move on and forget about all that, and we're going to say, here we are in the battle itself. As you can see, my team have completely taken the east side of the map. Literally, we own everything from the 5 line all the way to the 0 line, and as you can see, we're still pushing on through here. Now, the Hellcat does have some decent aim. You can get it down to 2.9 with modifications and equipment. So that is good. But what comes as a negative to some of those modifications and stuff is reload time. And I've gotten the reload time down with modifications and everything down to below 7 seconds. But you also lose some of your aiming capabilities too. So it is really a trade-off on what you really want to be able to do with the Hellcat. Do you want it to be a sniper, or do you want it to be fast? So you have to really test. I like to play it mostly as a sniper. As you can see, I have a camo net on here to in turn help with sniping, so that I can fire from a long way. And I do a mid between the aiming speed and also a little bit between like I said, I do between aiming speed and my aim or accuracy. So that is what I go for. So like right now it's like a 3.1 and like a 7.5 second reload roughly is the way I have mine set up, and which makes out for a really good there. As you can see there, we go ahead and come to a win right there with 1,600 damage done ourselves and 250 spotting. That doesn't get us high enough. I am still working on getting a mark on this tank. The Hellcat is very rough to mark because if you can't snipe, once you're spotted, you have very little backup speed and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and run on over to wattrecords.com and see how I did. And here we are at wattrecords.com. First off, you can see this is a second class bash, and we got fire for effect. But if you also look, got high caliber. So how do you get high caliber and only a second class badge? Well, that is basically because it was a tier 6 battle with tier 4s and stuff. So if you look out here, we have some, lower tier tanks all in through here also. Here's tier 5, tier 4s. So it is a little bit more difficult to actually get a higher class badge. I have already aced this tank, by the way, but it's a little harder to get a little bit higher class when you're fighting lower tier tanks, because you don't get as much experience for fighting lower tier tanks as you do fighting upper tier tanks, because you're considered at a disadvantage, so you get bonus experience that's built right into the base experience. So we did get high caliber, and that comes from the 2,000 exact damage. Now, if you remember, I said we had roughly 1,400 in-game showing. So that means we got roughly 600 more damage in blind shots. Well, we did take 2 blind shots at the northern hiding point for getting, TDs and stuff. So we got 2 shots in there. I'm not remembering exactly what they were, but we did. All right, so Overall, the second class badge came from the 736. The high caliber came from the 2000 damage overall. That's an even and 3 kills. As you can see here, fired 17 shots, only missed 5 of those 17, for equaling 12 direct hits, and 10 of those 12s did penetrate. 2000 damage was what we did. Just under just under half of that damage was from 300 meters. Again, I try to play this tank more as a snipey tank. You also get more experience if you are spotting your own damage, if that makes sense. If you're doing the damage to a tank and you're the primary spotter, you get all the experience from that tank. As where if someone else is spotting the tank and you're doing the damage, they get half of, we'll say 100 points of damage is worth 100 experience. That player will get 50 and you will get 50 experience. That is how that basically works. Now, if 2 people are spotting it, then they split that 50 experience between the 2 of them. You will always get 50% of damage of a tank that you do damage to, and the spotter gets the other 50. So if it's multiple people that have the tank spotted at the same time, roughly the same distance, that is split between the spotting experience is split between the 2 other tanks. As you can see here, we've received 1 hit, which it did pen. And that was the only damage we had. As you said, no splash, no blocking with armor. As I said, this tank doesn't have really good armor. So, and I'll show you this in tanksgg.com real quick. And spotted. Damage 7, destroyed 3 of those 7, 250 distance, and 2.64 kilometers in travel distance. Was with a premium account. Got 29,000, spent very little. Walked out with just under 25,000. So basically, we spent 5.1 thousand credits, roughly. 736 was the base because of a premium account. That's 1104, and it's 2,208, and I believe it was the 2 times first day. So I do believe this went straight to crew training because I have this all modded out. Now this looks weird here, and you'll probably agree. 2 times 55 is not 111; it's 110. So what this tells me is there's a 55.5 free experience, and when it got doubled, it was 11. So I mean, they rounded down. Anyways, as I said, we'll go over to Tanks GG to show you the armor model of said tank. Now here is the basic layout of the Hellcat. As you can see here, this is the 90 millimeter with the top turret, the top engine, top tracks, and the top radio with standard rounds, 160 pen, 240 damage. Now, if we do premium rounds, we have 240 damage with 243 pens. That's 83 more pen from the tank, which makes a lot of gold coming out of this tank a lot of sensible, especially when you're playing against tier 8. You'll see a lot of people firing nothing but gold. HE's 320 with 45 millimeters of pen. The way I have this tank set up is suspension, this, and these are, something is wrong with these because these are not right. Now for equipment, this is how I run the tank. I run a rammer, camo net, improved aiming. So this is the way I have basically the tank laid out. Just like this. This is wrong. One of these is a plus and one of these is a negative. So I'm not going to click on either one of these because these both say +3 aiming, +3 speed. I actually use the power lux, which is the -5 to aiming speed, but +3 to aiming circle. I'm not going to put that on there, but this is the way I basically tank. And as you can see here, when you look at everything else, you got please track health. Your armor is right here. My bad. It's 12.7 millimeters of armor and 76.2 on the front of the turret and 31.8 on the sides. 127 on the back, and that's because of the big horn is on the back of the tank. So overall, you can see here is the thing, 72 top speed overall. It does take it a while because it does not have very good engine to weight ratio overall. As you can see, here's the terrain resistances, effective terrain resistances and stuff, your gun depression. But overall, the tank has very little armor. So it's kind of why I play a sniper. I mean, even tier 1s and 2s can penetrate this tank in the hull, anywhere around. And that is exactly why it has such high speed with such low horsepower. So overall, that is what the Hellcat is like, and it's a good little tank or tank destroyer. I like playing it. I loved it when it was first out because, again, it was a little OP when they first put in the American turreted TD line. And yes, they did have to nerf it down a little bit, but when I think they hit it with the nerf bat, they hit it so hard that that wasn't a bat, it was a nerf hammer or Mjolnir, and it just completely really destroyed the Hellcat. It's still a fun little TD to play, but it has its issues. So if you think this battle was a good battle and you like this video, please go ahead and take a moment to click that like button down below or the thumbs up. And if you want to also tell me in another way, if you go to the link that is in the description, it will take you to this page here. You may have to sign in up above, right over here, over in here, right above download. And once you do and come back to this page, there will be a thumbs up right here and a thumbs down right there. You can tell me that you like this battle or, you know, the other. If you want to leave a comment down below, go right ahead. Also on this page here on whatrecords.com, you can leave a comment right down by here. On the comment on YouTube, I will be more than likely to go ahead and respond. Over here is a lot less likely that I will. Now, if you're not subscribed and want to keep up to date with all my World of Tanks, Minecraft, game reviews, and everything else I do here that comes to gaming right here on GreatTaz Gaming, make sure you click that subscription button and then click the notification bell, changing it from personal to all to get all notifications of everything I upload on YouTube. With that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm GreatTaz. I'm getting out of here. And maybe I'll see you on the battlefield.